Hey, what is going on? Welcome to Beautiful Start Podcast YouTube channel. And I'm Antoinette. And yes, if this is your first time listening to Beautiful Start Podcast YouTube channel, please subscribe, turn on that notification button, and like and share. Every Wednesday we are live here at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, definitely subscribe and join and be a part of this live, okay? So basically, tonight's topic is why he keeps on lying and disappearing, and should you care or move on with your life. Now, when I'm talking about, I'm talking about disappearing, right? A lot of people may think like, oh, she's talking about like when a couple has had a disagreement and one person, like let's say for instance your man leaves, and he's, to cool out the situation, and you don't know where he's at. He's going for like, a day or two. No, I'm talking about those men out there, like, everything could be going fine in your relationship. You guys definitely solidify that it is a relationship, right? Because a lot of times people be thinking they be in relationships with other people because they purely have sex, like y'all meeting up to have sex, and that's it. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about those relationships where you guys have a routine together, you guys live together, you guys plan for the future. It's planning for the future together, right? It's a verbal agreement. Y'all committed to each other, those kind of relationships. And within those kind of relationships, sometimes things could be going good. Everything is fine. Then all of a sudden your spouse just takes it upon himself and just disappears, and you don't know where the fuck he's at for weeks and maybe even months at a time. Now, a lot of people out there may feel like, oh, this doesn't make sense. How is it that a woman could be in a relationship with a man and she don't even know where the fuck he's at, right? It sounds crazy, but to someone who has never experienced that shit, someone who has like different standards, whatever. Cause some women be like, I ain't dealing with that shit, yo, like whatever. But anyway, I'm talking about those kind of situations. Like, yo, this dude keep disappearing, and then when he come back, he act like everything is all fine and dandy. You feel me? Like, yo, you was gone for like 3 weeks. Everything was fine. You just disappeared out of the blue. And I'm supposed to take you back as if and act like nothing has happened, right? And there's a lot of women out there who do that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, why he keeps on lying and disappearing, right? So I'm gonna get right into that, right? The number one reason why he keeps on lying and disappearing is because he has a secret life and he does not want you to know about it, right? He could be married. He might have multiple wives, living different. I don't want to say multiple wives, like as far as, because we all know you only allowed to have one wife legally. Depending on where you at in the world, right? Depending on where you at in the world. But when I'm talking about like he probably have different baby mamas everywhere, different girlfriends, in different places, children that you don't even know about, right? And that's the advantage that men have over women, is because us women, we have a child. It's like, all right, we got to carry that child and for 9 months, and people are visually going to see you be pregnant. But the thing with men are, you know what I'm saying, you don't see you won't see the person that they got pregnant. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if he chose to have a whole nother family, like let's say if you live in Chicago and he decides like, yo, I'm gonna go out to New York and I'm gonna create a family there. You feel what I'm saying? Like, the men have the luxury of doing that shit, right? And a lot of times, when you be caught up in your fantasy or the reality you've created for yourself, as far as us women, right? Because it's like sometimes you just want things to be good. You want to see the positive and everything. And I'm really big on, you know, looking at the positive outcome, but there's some fucked up ass shit that does happen. You know what I'm saying? And for a man to go out there and live a double life and shatter your whole perception or whatever your relationship is, or whatever he crushed. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times these dudes be like, you could clearly see that these motherfuckers ain't shit, right? But the compassionate side of you, the passionate side of yourself, you want to see the fucking good and all that shit. But anywho, don't allow that to, because I know, a lot of you women right now, y'all going to be going crazy, going through your man phone and shit and whatever. My thing, what I'm going to say to you guys, right? You don't really need to find the fucking evidence, right? You could put two and two together. Like, all right, yes, it's good to have evidence, right? You want to see how this woman looks. You want to see a conversation. You want to, see where he's at and shit like that. You want to see the proof. You want to put a fucking track on this dude car and you want to follow him. You know what I'm saying? Do all crazy ass shit, right? But the reality is right, you don't even have to see the shit to know that the shit is popping off. Like, come on now. You live in an apartment with this dude. He just disappears. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows where he's at. He's not answering your calls and shit. But he updating his social media, or you know he's still alive or whatever, because you spoke to his mom said she spoke to him or whatever, right? But he's not spending his time with you. He's not even worried about you. He's not even giving none of his energy or his thoughts toward. He's not doing nothing for you, right? So that should be enough right there in itself, right? To be like, oh yeah, I'm not fucking with this dude no more, right? Rather than to have proof. But a lot of times, I get it. People want proof. But my thing is, right, when you get that proof, how are you going to act towards it? Right? Because a lot of times people could think in their mind like, oh shit, yeah, he cheating or whatever. But when they see it, they react to it different. My thing is, I'm not an advocate for violence or none of that shit, you know what I'm saying? So if you are the type of person, if you go on this detective, investigative type of role, if you want to play that role and, go through his stuff, when he does return and shit like that, and then you figure out who it is, like, what are you going to do with that information? Is that information going to change the fact that you're going to be, because once you get all this information, right, it's like you are left with two options. You either going to stay or you going to leave. You either going to stay or you going to leave. That's the two options that you have, right? And you have to decide, you know what I'm saying, what you want to do. Because let me tell you something. The 38-year-old me right here, I don't give a fuck. I'm yelling, move on with my life to the day that I die. Like, move on. Like, I'm screaming that. Like, it's like, I just feel as though people show you who the fuck they are. You either believe them or you don't. Like, you don't have to believe somebody for what they saying to you and for what they showing you, and you could believe that little fucking fantasy or idea you have about somebody. Because I see a lot in this whole virtual world, this internet world. People like to put other people on pedestals and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then people follow them, and as soon as they do some fucked up ass shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like now they're not on a pedestal no more, or they are on a pedestal to the fact that you blinding yourself of the truth of the matter. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, you gotta start putting yourself first and thinking about what it is that you want for your life, because within the society they like to always shame us women about the most naturalist thing you could possibly do is get fucking older and grow and learn and navigate through this fucking life. But people try to make you feel some type of way about even something so simple as getting older. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you be seeing old ass women try to always do shit to, you know what I'm saying, return their youthful skin and all that shit, or look a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, we're getting older, we're growing, whether we like it or not, right? And that's the process, right? People are gonna come in your life and people are gonna fucking leave in your life. Leave. People come, people go. This shit is like a revolving door, right? Some people are gonna fucking stay. Some people are just gonna go. And some people you just gotta fucking evict and put the fuck out. Like, straight up and down. Like, some of these dudes out here, you just gotta, like, evict them. Like, put them out. Like, yo, you no longer have access denied. Like, sometimes you gotta be like, you gotta hit them with the access denied, like revoke they fucking membership, they call, like, you gotta just let motherfuckers go. And some of these men who are lying and disappearing, they shouldn't have the opportunity to come back. You know what I'm saying? Your fucking door shouldn't be revolving to these motherfuckers, because all they're gonna do is use you. You know what I'm saying? Because another thing is that they lying and disappearing, right? And all he doing is gassing you up and misleading you. And he don't really mess with you like that. He don't fucks with you like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like, that's why, you know, us women, we have to make an assessment all the time. Like, have an assessment with what's going on in our life. Like, just what's going on. You know how you got to do check-ins with your emotions, check-in with what you feeling and shit. You got to do a check-in and assessment with what the relationships that you have, right? Because a lot of times, you know, people always like to talk about, oh, like the fucked up friendships people have. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see somebody now and they could tell you all the fucked up ass shit that their friend is doing and shit. Like, oh, I don't want to talk to her no more. She done dropped out of school. She ain't doing it. Yeah, you know, whatever. Right? But when it comes to their man and shit, they're not going to throw their man under the bus the way they going to throw their friend under the bus, which I don't understand. Like, I'm not throwing my homegirl under the bus. Like, that's not the type of energy or vibe I'm trying to give off or whatever. But throwing somebody under the bus, you know what I'm saying? Anywho. So it's like these dudes, they don't really mess with you. He claiming that you his girlfriend, but he only hits you up like when it's convenient for him or when it's beneficial for him, right? Because there's some men out there who, you know, they use women, right? They basically use women for what it is that they need. You know what I'm saying? The same way women could use men for survival needs and shit like that, men do that same shit to women. You feel what I'm saying? And they could just be using you like for a place to stay. You know what I'm saying? Hitting you up when they want pussy and shit. You know. And not really being there when you actually need them to be there. You feel what I'm saying? Everything is pretty much always set up to where, okay, he's benefiting, right? So whenever you are, when you're not able to provide that shit for him, then that's when he's out. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and that's the reason why it could be disappearing. Like, oh yeah, you no longer have a place for him to stay. So you know what? He's out. He's disappearing. Oh yeah, you can't have sex no more. I'm out. You know, or you can't do X, Y, and Z for me. I'm out. I'm disappearing. Right? Because it's like he can only come around when it's just beneficial for him. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be able to recognize that and see that, you know. And if that's something that you want to continue to accept, because you know, I know you guys are listening to this like, yo, listen, once you realize a person is who the fuck they are, you either could accept it or you don't, and you move the fuck on, right? And my thing is, right, if you no longer want to be with some dude who's just gassing you up, who's just saying whatever he could say to get whatever he need for that one time, and then he's out and you don't hear from him no more, right? You definitely have to make that decision and be like, I ain't fucking with that shit. I need someone who's gonna be here regardless. You know, when he does come back, you gotta lock that damn door. Lock or access. Access denied. You know what I'm saying? Like, access denied. Like, how long are you supposed to wait for these men to get their shit together, right? If this is your first time listening to Beautiful Start podcast, definitely I want you guys to comment below. How long do you wait, right? How long do you wait? Because the thing is, are you going to allow this man to keep on disappearing and coming back? Or you just be like, yo, this is the person that I want to be with, and it don't even matter at that point. Like, it don't fucking matter. Like, this is what I signed up for. Right? You could say that. But, you know, let me know in the description box. No, the comment section. Go in the comment section and let me know your personal opinion, ladies, right? Let me know, are you guys experiencing that? Have you experienced that in the past? How many times did you let these motherfuckers come in and out? Was it a one-time thing when you said, oh, nah, you disappeared, I ain't fucking with you no more? Like, let it rip down below, and that's what you gotta do, right? Another thing is, he don't take you serious at all. He don't take whatever you guys got serious. Because like I said, this ain't this ain't really geared towards people who are just like booty calls. We ain't talking about just the booty call shit, because you know there's a lot of men out there who got it easy and shit, who somehow was able to gas up a group of women to just have sex with them, and that's it. Like, literally, that's it. Nothing else. No, whatever. I'm talking about full-blown relationships. Like, you guys are going out, you guys are doing things together, y'all planning, you know, some of you guys are living together, I'm talking about that, right? So if you making all these plans and shit with someone, and then all of a sudden they just disappear, like you guys ain't never talk about nothing, that means he don't really fucking take you serious. He is not taking you serious. In fact, this kind of man is scared of commitment, right? These are one of, like, it's a little, I don't want to say a red flag or whatever, but this is something that you need to look at, right? And think about, as far as relationship wise, does it really matter if a man is there or if he's not there? Right? Because this is a time when you need to ask yourself, right? Like, if this guy just made all these plans and everything with me and shit, and then all of a sudden this dude, he just bounced like we just ain't make none of them fucking plans. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's a man. Like, when you think about that shit, right? And this is some true tea for you guys out there, right? See, a lot of times, like, people say, oh yeah, we make mistakes, and you're supposed to give other people, like, second chances, and, like, shit like that. Like, you're supposed to be there, whatever. But sometimes you gotta throw in the towel and be like, fuck that shit. Because when you look at these kind of things where a person that don't take you serious, a person that is scared of commitment, a person that go against his word, like, he's saying that he's going to be there for you, but everything his actions say, I don't give a fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta watch out for that shit. Like, when the motherfucker actions is blatantly say, bitch, I don't give a fuck about you. Fuck you, you hoe, you dirty ass bitch. Like, it sounds very vulgar, right? But as far as the body language, as far as the actions, the things that a person is showing you, and sometimes the actions could be like that vulgar and that, like, negative and that, you know what I'm saying, like, that bad, and sometimes we don't really look at the action factor as that, you know what I'm saying? We just look at it. Sometimes people could brush it off. Like, some people are forgiving of, like, action shit versus what somebody said, right? Because sometimes what a motherfucker say, yo, that shit could sting and hurt you. You know what I'm saying? You got motherfuckers that's in their 50s still mad about some shit that their moms did when they was like 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, how the words, you know what I'm saying, like, said to them or whatever. But as far as the actions, right, that shit should be something that should be looked at. Because if you're the type of woman, you say you want someone to be reliable, you want to be in a relationship with a reliable man and shit, and this motherfucker ain't that, right? Then that's something that you should look at, and that's something that you should definitely consider when making a choice to leave. Because fuck that shit at the end of the day. Because you have pure, I want to say, you've experienced it. You're not getting this information secondhand. This is not a motherfucking woman knocking on your door, but like, yeah, I was sucking your man dick last night. That ain't that. You know what I'm saying? Well, it could be that too, but I'm just saying. This is firsthand knowledge too of how a motherfucker could leave you high and dry. and not give a fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? You mean to tell me I'm starving and you can't even buy me a fucking Happy Meal? I'm hungry. You can't even give me no food. You just leaving me out there. You know what I'm saying? To like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of shit that you gotta definitely, you know, look at. Because, you know, a lot of times these are relationships that women are in with these men who will bounce at, like, when shit get hard. Like, if shit is easy and the motherfucker is disappearing and shit, think about when shit get hard. When you go through a challenge or some shit. We ain't gonna be able to lean on this motherfucker. At all. He's just gonna fucking bounce. That's all he gonna do. And that's the type of dude that will leave you high and dry. This is the type of man that will leave you at the altar with a nice pretty white gown on. Okay? And leave you crying. Sad. You know what I'm saying? And this is the motherfucker that you gotta like. This is the type of shit that you gotta look at when you think about long-term healthy relationships and having longevity in a relationship. Because how could you really have longevity in a relationship if a motherfucker talking is disappearing and lying? He disappearing and coming back with a full-fledged story and shit. You feel me? So this is the type of shit that you gotta look at, right? And excuse my language for all you, you know, people out there who like to criticize people for their language and shit. But anywho, yeah, so start to move on with your life, right? Because it's no more just like, oh yeah, this is the problem. This motherfucker is disappearing and he lying. Like, oh, no more looking at the problem, because you already know what the fuck the problem is, right? Now we want to get to solutions, right? We need solutions, because that's the only thing that's gonna really make the whole difference, right? Okay, I could give you an outline of why the fuck, you know, he's lying and disappearing, right? A whole, like, people, you could give a whole, like, in the comment sections, you could give a whole bunch of different reasons as to why a person is disappearing and keep lying and disappearing, right? Because let's say, you know what, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to even say that, because I was going to go into a whole nother thing. But you know what, I'll let you guys comment below the other reasons as to why, you know, he keeps lying and disappearing. Like, add your 2 cents, what you think or whatever. But when you keep on experiencing this thing, right, and you no longer want to experience it no more, then it's something that you have to do, right? And the key thing is to disconnect, disattach from this person. Like, let him go, let the situation go, right? And move the fuck on. You understand what I'm saying? That's the number one thing to do, right? Because you could break it down, right? You know, if you know this motherfucker, if you figure out that he has a whole secret life, and your boy's out there, you know what I'm saying? His name is Daniel when he with you, and Danielle when he with his bitch or whatever. You feel what I'm saying? Whatever the case is, once you get the evidence that you got, if you the type of person that, oh yeah, I need evidence, it's like, yeah, you still got 2 options. You gonna stay or you gonna leave? What we doing here? You gonna stay or you gonna leave? Right? create whatever plan you need to create to bounce. My thing is, if you stay, right, you make the choice to stay. If you make the choice to stay, does that mean that you still have to complain about that situation? Because complaining means that you don't at some level you don't accept it. But if you stay, then at some level you accepted it too, right? But complaining about it means that you don't like it. So why stay in a situation that you don't like anymore, right? And that's where we get to this mindset. A mindset. It's a mindset that keeps you in a position where you are only complaining and you're not being proactive. You're not being active about none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the truth don't really have no standing if you're not really going to be active or proactive on it. You know what I'm saying? You have to be proactive on a situation to improve it for you, right? Because I just feel like we all have to be in a place where we are happy and where we are moving forward. At least get into a happy place, you know. We gotta empower ourselves. We can't be on no victim. We can't always be on no victim mentality. Be on a victim mentality. That means you blaming every fucking body else, but you're not really, you know, taking accountability for what it is that you did. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take accountability. And I feel like when you take accountability, that means you put your life and the shit that happens in it into your hands. And you start to take yourself serious. Because who the fuck gives a fuck about anybody that don't like? It's like, why you need someone else outside of you to really push you and motivate you? That shit should be coming from within. But a lot of times we are always struggling with shit eternal, that, you know, you don't see the power that you have in your life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's when you start to feel like, oh, you need certain people in your life to validate you. You feel what I'm saying? Or validate certain situations that are happening. But my thing is, ladies, you should care more about yourself, love, your self-care, your self-improvement, bettering yourself, empowering yourself, getting yourself to the next level, doing what you have to do to make every day better for yourself, right? To push yourself to the next level or phase in your life, right? None of this shit is going to be easy, right? Changing your habits and changing is not always an excitable thing, right? Or enjoyable. Because it's like, when you used to doing something for so many years and you automatically change it, it's going to feel uncomfortable. But that does not mean that it's not good for you, right? Because a lot of times people who've been eating unhealthy for like mad years, then all of a sudden they drink a fucking smoothie or they drink something that's good for them, and that shit tastes mad nasty. But just because it tastes nasty don't mean that the shit ain't good for them. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like sometimes we gotta put ourselves in uncomfortable situations, and, you know, so that we could grow and push ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And it makes us better, right? Because if you used to a motherfucker coming in and out of your life, then you might as well say that you used to a motherfucker treating you however the fuck they want to treat you, right? But in order to stop that from happening, you gotta be like, yo, on some that serious shit, I deserve better and I'm not dealing with this shit no more. No, you can't come in and out my life. Nah, that's a whole, like, I'm stopping that shit right now. That's how that's gonna go, you know? Or you just stop fucking with them. You know, you could definitely, watch my video on how to break up with somebody without telling them. Cause sometimes you just gotta motherfucking block a motherfucker and move on with your life. Cause these motherfuckers out here, they be feeling like they can put their hands on you and that they own you, and they can do whatever it is that they want to do on you or whatever. And it's like, no, fuck that shit. You're not going to touch me. You're not going to intimidate me. You're not going to threaten me to be in this relationship, right? Because a lot of times, a lot of women is dealing with that kind of environment, that kind of space where they don't have the free will to really tell a motherfucker how they feel without this fear of getting smacked up and shit and beaten up, right? So it's like sometimes you gotta just be on some, you just gotta let that shit go, you feel me? You just gotta be on some, I'm done, you know. You know how when you got crumbs on your hand, you go like that, and you just be like, I'm done, I'm moving the fuck on. This is what it is. So, yeah. Move on with your life. Make your life happen for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Make it do what it do. Now, I gotta let you guys know, right, that every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do a live course, The Mindset for Manifestation. Learn how to tap into the power of your mind to get what you want. Definitely take this course. It is definitely all about, changing your mindset, all about manifesting. And it's like you have to do it in a certain way, right? Manifesting what you want. A lot of times people can't even manifest positive things in their life because they have a fucking negative mindset, right? The shit go hand in hand, right? But how do you have a positive mindset if all your life you thought negative, right? These are some of the questions that, we have to ask ourselves. And sometimes we have to work on ourselves. Definitely working on yourself is something that at Beautiful Star Podcast, I'm always talking about self-care. I'm always talking about growth, right? Because we don't need to be stagnant and stuck on no fucking experience or no particular area in our lives, right? Because life is just always going and shit, right? So we want to just, always be on some moving forward type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like forward thinking, positive thinking, and ways of being, right? Being proactive and stuff, right? Is important for us to always, think ahead. But, yeah, we think ahead, right? But even being in the present moment and making choices that now in this present moment is going to be beneficial for our lives or whatever. But yes, I thank you so much for rocking out with this live. If you're listening to this on the replay, definitely subscribe. Turn on your notification button so you can definitely hang out with us on a live. Like I said, every Wednesday at 11 p.m. for Eastern Standard Time. For the most part, I'm live here. On Mondays, you could check out Motivation News at Beautiful Start Podcast. Definitely a link to the live course and everything is going to be in the description box, along with everything else, because I do have a monthly empowerment group that's only for women only. You feel me? If you're interested in that, definitely go in the description box. But I thank you so much